Hey everyone, and welcome to Talk Daily and a brand new episode. Today, we're going to be talking about one of our favorite subjects, which is this whole drive toward electrification and the convenience of it. And this article is specifically talking about swapping batteries. It's really hard to find information, to be honest with you, because everything's kind of being held. You really can't find information as easily as you think you could, especially about the details of subject like that, because everybody kind of holds on to their technology. They don't really want to share it. Makes sense. Anyway, so this article comes to us from Reuters. I will have a link to this article in the description below. So it's basically about China, and if you're not aware of, all electric cars eventually they're just gonna be made in China. It's just the way it is. China has control over the manufacturing, and the cost of manufacturing in China is much cheaper than it is in the United States due to labor laws, environmental laws, etc. I just said the United States. It could also be North America. It could be anywhere in Europe. China, just the regulation in China favors the manufacture of batteries. It is what it is, and that's a subject of its own. But anyways, this is the story comes to us from Detroit and from Beijing, and this is dated March 25th from Reuters, saying a year ago, Tesla dismissed the alternative path of electric car battery swapping as riddled with problems and not suitable for wide-scale use. And Beijing disagrees. Right here, basically this picture you're looking at is, I had a video about this, I want to say like a couple of months ago, and I mentioned this idea previously that, okay, can we, swap batteries in car? It makes sense, right? You had a little toy car and you swap out batteries. You think it is a very easy thing to do. Do not underestimate the power of stupid, though, okay? People in general are not the... I was going to sound mean, but really, you've seen dumb people, right? And all it takes is one person to make an error, make a mistake, and ruin it for the rest of us, right? That's why we can't have nice things, right? And I could see that happening unless it's automated. And that's, I think that's what Tesla was referring to, saying it's riddled with problems, because you would imagine some dude, some bloke, somebody will be working on a car in the garage, trying to swap the battery, and get squashed to death in it, or starts a fire, and electrical, a chemical fire that won't stop, and it just have a fire everywhere. So it makes sense, right? I mean, I would imagine. I mean, I work on cars. I'm very meticulous. I take my time, and I like my car. I mean, I don't work on other people's cars. I just work on my personal vehicle, and I take my time with it. But I could imagine that if you have to swap batteries because you just need to get to work and you're in a hurry, I could see that, if you're doing it yourself, well, most people don't want to do it themselves. So what China is saying is that, look, you drive your car into like a spot like this, and it automatically does it. It drops the battery from the bottom, swaps another battery. It's all automated. It takes, 15 minutes or something like that. I don't know the time limit. It's saying, they're being generous with the time. They're saying it's going to be shorter than it takes to charge it. And remember, you're getting a fully charged battery, not a partial charge. You're getting a fully charged battery. I think this idea has a lot of merit. It has a lot of merit, and it makes a lot of sense to me. But again, this requires that everybody has the same battery. How we standardize batteries, AA, AAA, etc. Battery sizes are standard, and now that requires standardization of car batteries. And China is approving of that because, again, China makes the batteries. They can do it. The Western world is objecting because of capitalism. Everybody's like, no, I want to make money. And China's like, well, y'all making your cars in China. It's all made in China. We're going to go that path. And they keep mentioning Tesla. I always say that about my videos. Don't look at Tesla as anything but a cult. Tesla is its own little universe. Tesla doesn't go by the rules that Mercedes play or the rules that, they play in China. Tesla is basically its own thing. It's a brand new company. They have a lot of liberty. They have a lot of faithful followers and investors. So they're able to try things. And, when Tesla cars weren't working, people didn't complain. They didn't go bankrupt. I mean, if you look at the same vehicle that had the same issues from GM, we would look at a massive loss in share, but not with Tesla, because people are understanding it's a brand new company and you're buying futuristic vehicle, or the promise of that. So anyways, falling back into what China is saying, because I keep comparing it to Tesla. I think they're running out of ideas. Those writers, when I keep comparing it to Tesla, they're talking basically, they're trying to have the battery swap station by 2025. So 4 companies, automaker NIO and Geely. If you don't know what Geely is, Geely owns pretty much almost everything. That's just the reality of global marketing. It is what it is. Again, that's a different subject if you want to talk about China owning cars and owning the manufacturing and the knowledge and how. That's a whole different subject. But anyway, so NIO and Geely battery swap developer Alton and state-owned oil producer Sinopec say they plan to establish a total of 24,000 swap stations across the country in 2025. That's in China, up from about 1,400 today. Battery swapping allows drivers to replace a depleted pack quickly with fully charged one rather than plugging the vehicle into a charging point. Swapping could help mitigate the growing strain placed on power grid as millions of drivers juice up. If China is successful in making swapping successful on a large scale, though, the shift could undermine the business model of a global brand like Tesla, Volkswagen, and General Motors, whose EV are designed for and powered by their own proprietary batteries. That's what I'm trying to tell you right there, proprietary batteries. Because again, capitalism, remember, China is communism. And in some way, having one person make a call is always proven to be more efficient. Now, whether it is correct or not is a different story. Don't take my words and extract them into the global world. But in China, they're saying, like, screw you, we're going to do this. And us, we're like, we can't come up with our own ideas. We don't know what the hell we want. But I really think China is going to make that call. Sorry. It's not us, because we're just too stuck trying to make some money selling those cars, which they're already made in China. And China's just simply going to say, no, we're going to swap batteries. All your cars, all your electric cars with that little special plug and your proprietary battery, they're obsolete. And that's, I think, what's going to happen, because swapping batteries is really easy. You can just drive like you're getting your car, the oil changes, go to the station, swap batteries. Again, we're talking about the future, okay? And I still think gasoline engine has its place, because if you live in a rural area, again, a car is needed. If it's an emergency, you need a vehicle to start right now. I need to put gas in it and go. Gasoline car is still gonna have that place, but I'm talking about in the future. We're talking about 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Swapping battery doesn't seem like a bad idea. And they keep quoting Tesla saying it's never gonna happen, never going to happen. Again, that's probably an old quote, and never say never. Everything is possible. It's just how much time and money is required if it's feasible. And China has the money to do it. The Minister of Industry and Information, MIIT, a major supporter of battery swapping, did not immediately respond to a request for further comment about China's battery swapping strategy. Of course not. I didn't tell you anything. The Chinese swapping plans announced piecemeal in recent weeks and months, but not widely known outside the domestic auto sector, are part of Beijing's broader plan to make 25% of the car sale fully electric by 2025, or more than 6 million passenger vehicles based on current forecasts. Estimate vary widely as how many will have swappable batteries. We don't know yet. Again, that's a strategy in the future. That's not something that's going to occur at the moment right now. We are accumulating experience in Chinese market and at the same time communicating closely with overseas partners. You'll receive more concrete information soon, said CATL, which supplies about half of China market and more than 30% of battery cell used in EV globally. Again, this is a Chinese company. NIO, among China top EV maker, plans to offer U.S. customer battery swapping system by 2025. The company North America head Ganesh said he has more than 800 swap stations in China and has just set up its first in Europe. Again, I keep talking about Tesla saying it's never going to happen. I'm not sure why I keep mentioning that, because it is what it is. But anyway, a VW spokesperson said the company originally considered battery swapping to avoid waiting times at charging station, but the advance in fast charging and lower cost of non-swappable batteries had led it to shift focus to the latter. Again, is it saying, okay, we can charge them quickly, you don't need to swap the batteries. I keep looking at it from the perspective that if the battery, because remember, the batteries are mounted really low on the cars, and that's another issue of its own as far as damage when you're driving the vehicle, imperfections on the road. That's another story of its own. But a removable battery, they don't want to do it. I think, again, it's just due to cost, 100% cost. It said, nevertheless, our strategy is closely monitor and evaluate the competition, the competitive environment, and all development in this area, the German automaker said. Tesla spokesperson didn't immediately respond to requests for a comment. What do you mean did immediately? So what did he say eventually? Swapping and regular grid charging both have critics and leaders in rapidly evolving auto tech arena. Let me know what you guys think. What everyone here think? You think it's swapping batteries is clever? You think swapping battery is not clever? You don't think it has a place? You think just plug it in and charge it? I don't know. We are living in a very ever-changing world and changing rapidly. And you know what's sad is eventually it's just going to settle on one thing. It's going to settle, it's either we're going to swap it or we're not going to swap it. We're going to have universal battery adapter plug-in or we're not. And if you have something in between, it's going to go obsolete. All the stuff is going to go obsolete in between until we get to that phase, which is swappable, not swappable. I don't know. 2025 sounds like a very exciting time because by 2030, we will already have an answer. We should already have an answer. Okay, by 2030, for sure, we should already have an answer. All the stuff is already going to be settled. We're all going to be driving. Standardized chassis comes from China, already has those batteries built on it, and you just, whatever the exterior you want it to think your car is, or whatever it is, Ford, Volvo, they're all going to be China. Chinese cars with exteriors. And is it going to have a swappable battery, or is it going to have, you're going to charge it? Depends on how this thing goes. It depends on where China leads in that path. I'm sorry, I'm not even mentioning Europe or America because they're irrelevant. We're not the leaders in this at all in this fight. We are simply just passengers. We're just gonna buy what's available. We're not simply United States. Like I know right now with this current administration, they did they try to do electrification and put like a bunch of power charging station all over. We don't know yet. By 2030, we'll see if that plans come to fruition or actually has some traction. But regardless, every battery you have is coming from China. It is what it is. So every time you buy those electric cars, in a sense, you are aiding in the global economy, which China is the leader of the battery manufacturing. Technology-wise, as far as the intellectual property of it, there's a lot of it being designed here in the States, of course, and in Europe, all over the world. But the actual physically, the dirty work of making the battery, remains to be in China in mass production. I'm talking about larger volume. I'm not saying we don't make any batteries in the United States. I'm not saying they don't make any batteries in Brazil or in Europe. I'm just saying China makes the most. And every time you're making the most, large companies like Volkswagen and European companies or American companies, they look at China and just to buy in bulk because it's cheaper. Simple economy. Simple economics. CATL, which helped NIO develop swapping batteries, have signed up China's FAW Motors as the first customer for its new EV Go battery swapping service. Evo Go. That's a cute name. Swapping service, and expect to extend the service to other Chinese automaker. CATL wants domestic firms to accept its standard battery design so its stations can service model for multiple brands, according to a person close to the company who declined to be named due to commercial sensitivities, adding that it's expected more car brands adopt this standardized design. Again, that's what I'm talking about, the standardization of the design, which is going to be whatever China says it will be. I'm pretty sure we're going to have our own little boxes to tick on it, but in general, it's going to be what China designs. And so anyway, speaking of America, what's going to happen here? While international car maker may resist swappable batteries that are reliant on Chinese sales to fund their costly transition to electric and will have little choice but adapt to the market there, according to many industry experts. There you go. There you go. Furthermore, is Beijing ultimately mandate swappable battery? Well, guess what? And start saying, okay, the only car you're allowed to produce is one that meets our standard. You know what's going to happen. That's exactly what this guy is getting the words right out of my mouth. John Helveston, assistant professor of George Washington University School of Engineering. Guess what? You're going to have to do what China asks you to do. Absolutely. Battery swapping is too convenient, too economical, and too logical for this not to happen at a scale in Europe and the United States. Says Olivier Tiedelman, the head of policy international business at San Francisco-based battery swap startup Ample. Of course, there's a lot of startups doing that concept. It's a sort of magical thinking to imagine that it's a uniquely Chinese phenomena. He's trying to defend that, but it's not the point. It's really not to do with that you can't start a startup company swapping batteries. It has to do, again, with the quote. I can say it any better. His quote. He's telling you, if Beijing ultimately mandates swappable batteries and starts saying, okay, the only car you're allowed to produce is the one that meets our standard, and guess what? Ford, all these guys, we're making sure electric battery cars, even Tesla, they say, okay, yes, sir. I mean, unless you have money to make two. And again, I always put Tesla aside because I think Tesla is one of the only car companies, really, because Tesla is not like just making like Ferrari, making a couple of cars, making a lot of cars. They're able to kind of just look at their shareholders, look at their investors and say, hey, stay with me for a little bit. Stay with me for a little bit. Keep up with me. Give me a break. Give me a chance. And people will. And that's not going to happen out of Ford and those companies. It won't. Shareholders just going to look at their costs and money and say, we need to keep making profit. So, yeah, let me know what you think. If you didn't know that, I mean, every time I make a video about electrical car, just do understand that this is a global manufacturing. It's not this car company that's its roots are American. This doesn't exist anymore. I mean, there's some they are that countries manufacture, like they're still based in their country, but in reality it's a global market, and everyone is looking at who are buying cars in massive amount. Well, China is doing great right now. It's buying a lot of cars, so they're looking at their sales. As simple as that. So it's not good or bad. It's just facts of what's occurring. And I mentioned a swappable battery because I personally think swappable batteries are very, very smart option. Now here in California, I don't know what's gonna happen with Cali. There's a lot of cars on the road, and having these stations, they're gonna be all over the place. I mean, you would imagine people going in there maybe with half depleted battery and saying, "Well, I'm gonna go to a long distance and I want my battery fully charged because I don't feel good." So what are you gonna do with these idiots? I mean, I don't know. God knows what, right? Someone's gonna walk in with 75% fully charged battery and say, "I want to swap it because I just want to." And so, I mean, I don't know. So, are the people going to have almost no range going there first, or they're just going to be first come, first serve, which I think is what's going to be. And, but if it's able to be done quickly, something where it just quickly goes in there, removes, some literally a battery, drops on the bottom and gets swapped to another battery. But again, there's a reason Tesla said, and the engineers at Tesla said it's not going to happen, because it seems to be it's not that easy. There might be some issues maybe, with the technology, and people are dependent on cars. They're really dependent on cars. So if you go ahead and swap your battery and it doesn't work and you're stuck in there in that station, like just looking like, where am I going to go? Again, there's a lot of questions to be answered, but the idea has merit. And definitely it's based on standardization. I don't know if you can see those batteries. It's not a coincidence they make them all look the same. Do you see that? They all have like the same design. That's not a coincidence. It has to be where all these batteries are literally the exact same slot. They go in the same position. There's an up and down. You just slide them in and they click in place or whatever, and they have a nice day and you go on with your day. It cannot be a design it requires you to, solder and remove soldering, unplug wires. Nah, there's no unplugging of wire. It has to be click in, click out, and have a nice day. And I don't know what you're going to do with all these old depleted batteries. I mean, we still don't have a very good answer and solution to what to do with our car batteries. Batteries are they're toxic. And our transition to batteries is, that's a whole story of its own, honestly. So I hope in correlation with this will be a place where we could recycle the old batteries, which again I think is going to be China, because our labor is too expensive. We're too precious here. Manual labor is not our forte anymore, and dirty work is definitely not the Western world forte anymore. We all look at Asia to do all that dirty work, right? Your Christmas lights. Where do you think those things go when you throw them in the trash? Not here. They go out there. They get sold in bulk, so they strip them and they remove the plastic and they get the copper. That's all happens in those countries. Southeast Asia. Unfortunately, So that's part of the global economics. Again, that's a whole subject. That's a whole big subject. As you can see how everything is correlated. It's no more one nation doing its own thing. You really have to look at the global market and how you're gonna standardize things. So I don't know. I keep my eyes looking at Tesla, and I keep looking over here at China, and we'll see what they do. As I said again, Tesla could do its own thing because people love Tesla, and charging from your house is very convenient. But swapping batteries seems very tempting, especially if you're on the go and you look at the hustle and bustle of everyday life. Unless you're a very meticulous guy, wakes up every day at the same time, and to plug in your charger in the morning, and go ahead. But if you have some emergency, I don't know. You're driving in one day and you have to, for some reason, continue driving. You can have time to charge, and the next day you have to go to work. Well, so there are reasons why those ideas exist. There's a reason for that. There's a demand for a swappable battery. Again, let me know what you think. I don't know. We'll see. The future is exciting, and again, I think the time, if we're gonna find all the stuff out by 2030. They're saying 2025. By 2030, all of us will know the answer. By 2025, we'll get a closer idea if this project would actually have any merit. Again, I will have a link to this article always in the description below, as always with everything else I talk about over here. Anyways, let me know what you think again, and as always, have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.